YouTube is on. Facebook is equally on. We are online right now. So, fellow members of the crew, my fellow Biafrans who are always with me here from time to time, every week, every month, to bring news to our people, to inform our people, to enlighten them, and to put records straight. Apart from that, we always use this particular platform to reach out to people, friends and foes alike, to share their views, to buy their opinions. We build bridges, we extend olive branches to anybody that cares to listen and to accept, because we don't preach war, we don't preach hate, we don't preach hostility. We shy away from crisis. We are as cool as the cucumber. And that is true. That is the principle that governs Voice of Biafra International. We reach out to everybody and to the best eggheads in our society. We learn from them, because the wisdom they have can sustain us for ages. We don't believe in making use of mere useful experiences. No. There are times use could be clever, but most often they are not wise. So it is always more preferable when we set out time to listen to voices of authority. Today is Sunday, the 10th of December. We are heading towards the end of the year. And we have to thank the Almighty Jehovah for keeping us alive up to today and to see us equally for the rest of the year into the new year 2018. We have every cause to be happy and to glorify His holy name. Today, initially, we were supposed to have a Senator Sylvester, what's his name again? As our special guest to discuss on issues on Imo State. Right now, he is still at the PDP convention, which was held yesterday, and he promised that in the next few minutes or 1 hour, he will be joining us in this particular program. So, we are waiting because we have a lot of questions to ask him on Imo State and its governance. Why there? We have with us equally as our special guest, Professor Peter Ejirika, who is a senior lecturer in one of the American universities. He is joining us right now for the United States of America. Before I introduce him being our special guest this evening, let me first of all introduce to you members of the vobi crew and where they are right now located. Let me first of all have the pleasure of introducing our brother who is always awake, even though this is very early in the morning, right away in Japan, Asia. Despite the time differences, he makes out time to be awake at this very hour and to be with us. Echezena Udeze, you are welcome to our program.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I love that my program. I welcome you also to this program. Join us to celebrate freedom of Biafra. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was the voice of our brother Echezena Udeze speaking to us from Japan, and he is joining us in this particular program. From Japan, now let us move down to Ghana, Accra, where Uche Diji is. Uche Diji, welcome to the program.
Yeah, good evening, my able moderator. I am very grateful to join you today once again. Good evening, all Biafrans. This is Uche Diji. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Uche Diji, for being with us. From Ghana, let us move down to Europe, Germany to be precise, where Mike Ukaha Obi is. Mike, you are welcome to the program.
Thank you, fellow Biafrans. Thank you, my brothers. Thank you, the moderator. And I'm welcoming you, our guest, Chief Ejirika. Thank you for coming. Ukaha Michael is my name. Working from Germany to be precise.
Thank you very much, Mike, for being with us in this particular program. So far, very many of our people are already logged on, but from the screen right now, I cannot get all of them. Rita Eberechku Anibok is there, monitoring. Caroline Osagie is there. Vincent Onebu is equally there. Noble GIG is watching there. Emmanuel Ezodika, Chigozie Egwon, and very many others. I cannot scroll out the whole names. But on the face of my particular mobile phone right now, which I used to monitor, this is the number it could contain. Now, fellow Biafrans, let me have the pleasure now of welcoming Professor Peter Ejirika to our program. Professor, you're welcome to the program, sir.
Yeah, thank you, moderator, and thank you, ladies and gentlemen of Biafran Persuasion. I welcome you all to this platform again, so that we can reason together, argue, and come up with a concerted decision that we can live up with.
Thank you very much. Oh, go on, sir. Sorry.
Yeah, so thank you for the management of this
Voice of Biafra International. Yes.
Voice of Biafra International that attempts to bring us all together so that we can argue and come up with a decision or come up with a platform or a blueprint that we can live with. Well, my name is Dr. Peter Ejirika. I attended Baptist High School, Port Harcourt, and I fought the war as a 12-year-old. I walked from the classroom, Baptist High School, to Onne war front. And we fought at Onne, a lot of Port Harcourt boys, because that's what we used to call our name, Port Harcourt boys. A lot of my peers were lost. We are carried away by the Atlantic Ocean. I was saved because I know how to swim. I swam myself back, but the other boys didn't know how to swim. So that was how they paid the supreme sacrifice. Today we are here.
Yes, sir. Just a second, sir. Just a second, sir. Let me once again, Udeze in Japan, there is a special greetings for you coming from the Biafran lady, our sister. We know her very well, Rita Eberechku Anibogo. She is right now with us and extending his warm greetings to you, Udeze in Japan. So, I also welcome Tina Chikwe and Austin Okechukwu Egebula and very many others. So, let me, before I hand over to the Prof right now, everybody has to understand that Prof was a pilot officer in the Biafran army. He was a pilot officer during the Biafran army and he fought side by side with Arthur Alves Pereira, the Biafran officer that disorganized the Nigerian Air Force and brought down Russian fighter jets that came to attack us. Professor, sir, over to you.
Thank you, moderator, with that little introduction. But we did more than that.
Yes, sir, we know.
One thing we had in Biafra, that is oneness of purpose. We had oneness of purpose. We may differ in the strategy. We may differ on how to achieve Biafra. But there's one thing that binds us together. We want Biafra. So whoever doesn't want Biafra should try and recuse themselves from us, from our congregation, or from our any kind of assembly that we may have. But one thing we need to understand, to achieve Biafra is a time function entity. It's something that will take time. It's not something that we're going to achieve today or tomorrow. But are we going to achieve it? Yes, you better believe, yes. But it's going to take time. It might be 2030. It might be 2020. Or it might be something longer than that.
Exactly, sir. Excuse me, sir. Let me chip in. Don't be offended. In fact, it is good that we had this particular statement from you. It is very, very good we had it from you because there are people who are saying, oh, this Biafra actualization is taking a long time. What is happening? But we keep on telling them that the road to freedom is not something that is done in a hurry. It is not something that we have to say. It's not an open session. Every revolution in Europe, in the Americas, in Asia, some of them took decades before they were actualized. Even the recent one in the Bible, let me allude, Between Egypt and Israel, how many kilometers? But it took them 40 good years. But at the end of the day, they are right now recuperating. So it is indeed good. We are glad that you made this particular statement for our people here and there to understand that the road to freedom is not an open sesame, it's not a magical death. But we keep on working. It might be in our time, it might be in our children's time, it might be that of our grandchildren. But what is more important is for us to lay the foundation and we take off from there. This has been the philosophy of the bim-massob family, under whose platform this broadcast is coming to fellow Biafrans live. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, moderator. Yes, we need to emphasize that. It might be in our lifetime. It might be in the lifetime of our children or children's children. But there is one thing. We want to be free from Nigeria. Nigeria has done a lot harm to Biafra. Today, Biafra is a third world entity. We are just as poor like Ethiopia or Mali. But no, we have the brain to compete with China, with India, with Britain. We meet them in the classroom and they are no better. They don't beat us in the classroom in American schools. We compete with them comfortably. And they respect us, we respect them too. So, but because of the management we have in Nigeria, Biafra is overshadowed by a fourth world entity they call Nigeria.
Sorry, sir. We have with us here a member of the Voice of Biafra International Crew joining us from Lagos, Maslinus. Maslinus, Professor Peter Ejirika, a senior lecturer in one of the American universities, is our guest. Maslinus, please say hello to him and equally introduce yourself to Biafrans.
Hello, Prof. Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good
So,
evening.
Maslinus, joining from Lagos, Nigeria. Fellow Biafrans, good evening and welcome to today's broadcast. It is a pleasure to be with you this night. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We are also welcoming Ihuku Mere Ifeanyi, Austin Okechukwu Egebula, Chidebere Nwafo, and so on and so forth, who are here with us right now joining. Professor, over to you once again.
Yeah, thank you, moderator, again. One thing we need to ask ourselves, it's easy to say we want to achieve Biafra, but what have you done for Biafra? At the end of this program, every one of us should ask ourselves the question, what have you done to achieve Biafra? Not what Biafra has done for you. The politicians we have in Nigeria, all they is what Nigeria can do for them. They call it sharing of the national cake. In Biafra, there's no national cake to share. It's giving of the national, giving their own share of the effort to realize Biafra. What have you done to achieve Biafra? It's a personal question. It's a question for every one of us. What have you done? This is what every one of us should ask himself or herself. It's not, hey, when are we getting Biafra? It's taking too long. But what have you done to achieve it, to make it shorter? As an individual, there are things you can do. We are now trying to organize some kind of platform whereby Attorney Bruce Fine, who has shown himself that he can assist us to achieve Biafra, and he has the professional skill, has the academic skill, and has the political connection to assist us to achieve Biafra. But the problem is what? Money. What we have to do for him to assist us to achieve Biafra. So every one of us need to contribute one way or the other. But the time for contribution has not come. We have to set up the platform. We have to set up the infrastructure. Now there's no infrastructure. So what we are trying to do is to set up a meeting with him and have him talk to all Biafrans all over the world and tell Biafrans who he is.
Excuse me, sir. Please, listeners, yes, you have to turn down the volume of your set. Please, every person connected here should turn down the volume of their sets because it echoes back here. Please bear with us. Thank you for your understanding. Prof, sir.
Yeah, thank you, moderator. So let me repeat myself. we've identified somebody who can assist us to achieve Biafra. We've identified somebody who has done some civil rights litigation before. He has done this before. He has assisted many nations to achieve their freedom, their sovereignty, their nationhood. He can assist us as well. He can assist us as well. That's Attorney Bruce Fine. Attorney Bruce Fine is a lawyer. He's a lawyer in Washington, United States. And he said he can assist us. And he also said that our case is stronger than the case of Eritrea, and stronger than the case of Southern Sudan, and stronger than the case of Southwest Africa. But the only thing holding us back is organization, management. We don't have the management. Biafra, everybody tends to know it all. And all of us, nobody wants to help Biafra in the area for which they are trained. You will meet a medical doctor, he wants to be the administrator of Biafra. A medical doctor cannot be an administrator. He's not trained for that purpose. You meet a journalist, he wants to be an administrator for Biafra. A journalist cannot be a Biafran administrator because he lacks the capacity, he lacks the skills. So this is where we are. Some people have already made Attorney Bruce Fine, and Attorney Bruce Fine went to Nigeria and then came back to the United States and filed a case against them, against Nigerians, for the people they killed in Nkwo, in Aba, and in Onitsha, and in. And these Biafrans thought that Bruce Fine filed a case against Nigeria to establish Biafra. No, he did not file a case to establish Biafra. What he filed is a case to prosecute the people who killed Biafrans in Nkwo, in Aba, in Onitsha, and Enugu. So we need to call this Attorney Bruce Fine to this medium so that he can address all Biafrans and tell us what he can do for us, and then tell us what it will cost us. Then we can set the financial network to realize the money. Let me tell you all Biafrans, Igbos, our fathers, my generation, I'm 66 years old. My father and their group, they weren't educated, but they built the best secondary school in West Africa, Igbo National, Jos. None of the builders, none of the people who contributed to that building or to that school went to school. Some of them didn't even read up to standard 6.
Now, excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir. Now, let me take a question then before you proceed. You mentioned Bruce Fine,
yes,
and that very soon, God willing, he is coming to address all Biafrans on this particular platform to tell us the steps we have to take, towards bringing the Nigerian government to justice for killing our people, and subsequently other moves we are going to take. Now, what he tends to hinder this is finance. And one thing certain is this: our people, you know how they behave, they are always willing to contribute their best. All they want is, the moment they hear Bruce Fine on this our platform, giving us the information on what he intends to do, will be rest assured that we are going to use this vobi to mobilize our people to that effect. Already, when the information got to Chief Wazike, he made it clear that we have to use this particular platform to reach out to all our people. The voice of Biafra International belongs to Biafran people, not to bim-massob, not to IPOB, not to Billionaire Human Rights, no, but collectively. That is why we reach out to everybody that will have something to give to us. So please, on this Bruce Fine issue, we need more elaboration so that our people will hear you, so that whenever he comes on our program and discuss with us, we take up the matter from there.
Thank you, moderator. Bruce Fine is a a top-notch attorney. He's one of the best lawyers. In America, we call a lawyer an attorney. He's one of the best lawyers that has the connection with American president and with Congress and with Britain. You know, if you have a connection with America, you also have a connection with Britain and with France. So he can lead us. He has said that how he wished he would achieve Biafra before he dies. That is his prayer, personal prayer to God, for God to spare his life to achieve Biafra before he, Attorney Bruce Pine, dies.
And
so
actually,
what
sir,
we are trying to do now,
sir, in addition to that, the current Secretary General of the United Nations is from Portugal, and from what we have read, during the Civil War, he had the Biafra sympathy in mind. By sheer coincidence again, one of their fellow Air Force pilots, Arthur Alves Pereira, is from Portugal. And their Air Force people also met to reach out to Arthur Pereira, probably from him, reach out to this new Secretary General to the United Nations.
Thank you, moderator, for that question. We have persons, we have Biafrans that are in communication, like Dr. Afamefuna he's a cardiologist. Dr. Afamefuna is a cardiologist stationed in Spain. He writes the Spanish guy who fought in Biafra. He fought in the sense that he did not carry gun, but he was sending us food and relief material to Biafra throughout the war. So that's the guy you are talking about. We have somebody that can reach him. But what we are trying to do is to bring some Biafrans, leadership, management team. We are trying to establish a management team, not organization, not club, not association. We want to organize a task force, what we call a task force in Texas. Organize some people, give them, assign a duty to them. Once they achieve that duty, they disband. So I want to assist Biafrans, let's create a task force of 10 people or 12 from different nations, from different countries. Once we come together, then we set up this agenda to meet with Bruce Pine and also to connect the Spanish guy and the Spanish authorities and see what these two groups of people can do for us. I'm sure they'll be able to do a whole lot. But right now, the point where we are is trying to bring some people together so that we can reason together and set up a team. In America, we call it steering committee. Set up a steering committee. We are not trying to set up Loni or IPOB or Billier or IPOB or whatever.
Exactly.
We're not trying to set up another association.
Yes.
We are only trying to set up a working group. Once we achieve our purpose with this band, we dissolve the association. So this group, we've been collecting names. And maybe at the end of this meeting, we may add some names more. So this group will meet by Skype or face-to-face. Then we set up an agenda, draw up a blueprint of how we are going to meet these authorities, and then formally present our problems to them and see what they can do to help us. But we can reach Portuguese people. We have an authority in Portugal and in Spain, Dr. Afamefuna. Dr. Afamefuna was a Biafran Navy officer, and he hails from Ihiala.
Yes, already, sir. He has sent his Skype ID to me that was 3 weeks ago. He sent his Skype ID to me to add up to this particular platform, preparatory for the discourse. And let me equally chip in something. Over there in the States, the American Congress plays dominant role in world affairs. Once they take decision, it appears to be binding on the president who now finalizes it. For example, the recognition of Israel, Jerusalem, as the eternal capital of Israel was long ago taken by the Congress and not implemented by Donald Trump. Are there also steps our people are taking, more especially those in the states, making to make sure that they get some members of the Congress that will convince the rest into accepting Biafra?
Thank you for that question. See, the problem is there are two sets of Biafrans in United States. Those who came here to go to school, who went to school, are professionals now, and those who came here to work. So, and it appears those who came to work are bigger, are greater in number. So their purpose is to make money. So if you are telling them, we need to go campaign for this congressman or congresswoman, so that when we have any need in Biafra, we can run to him or her and present our need. Do we have such persons in Texas? Yes. Congressman Conin and Doggett. I participate in their campaign. And if we have problems, like when Hausas killed Biafrans in Kano in 2001, we sent a letter to Conin and Doggett and gave them all the materials about the killings. So, but the other people, the other sect of Biafrans in America don't understand that. They don't understand the American system, that nothing goes for nothing. If you want a politician to help you, you have to go help the politician during the election or the election campaign. If you don't do that, it's going to be difficult to reach the politician, to reach the American politician. So that is the situation. That is why we are not having a lot of success in that. Then again, Nigerians, most Nigerians that come over here, they choose to associate with Nigerians. It's only their children who associate with Americans in their classroom. So they go to Nigerian parties, they don't go to parties organized by the Americans. So in other words, they are living in a world of their own. So that is why the Biafran problem is only known in the Biafran world. Baptist church does not know it. Catholic church generally does not know it unless Catholic church of Biafrans in Houston. And Anglican church does not know it unless the Anglican church in Houston run by Biafrans. So we don't try to intermingle, which is hurting that effort. We did not try to intermingle or associate with Americans. Like for myself, if we achieve Biafra, yes, I will go back to Nigeria. But if we don't achieve Biafra, I've already bought my graveyard where I will be buried. I'll stay here. I don't have nothing to do with Nigeria. But that is me. There are some other people too that may take such decisions. So our problem is our culture. We come to America, we stay within our enclave, within our group.
Now, excuse me, sir. You pointed out something very, very latent, that many of our people in the States don't seem to be pro-Biafra. Either they came to study or to work. And because of this, either a particular group associates with the Americans, the rest group associates with Nigerians. But what we have to understand is that we are not expecting 100% representation of our people. If we go back to history, that was 1882 in Spain here, Constantinople, not Constantinople, I mean the city in Spain, where this was before the Jewish people decided to go back to their land. You know, in this 1882, when that particular proclamation was made, they expected the Jewish people scattered all over the world to start gathering their things towards final exodus. A good number came out, a good number equal did not come. But the very few that decided to take the bull by the horns succeeded. At the end of it all, that particular voting force was able to attract the numerous others into joining them. Today, the Jewish world is a force to reckon with. Do you think we are going to expect every Biafran, every Igbo person to agree with us before we make a conclusion in the Biafra quest?
No. Definitely no. For instance, let me tell you, most of the people you call Igbos, in actual sense, are not Igbos.
Exactly.
Let me tell you, yeah. Let me run
Sir, excuse me, sir. Please don't be offended. There's what so that I won't forget what I want to inform now. You just said now many people who pretend to be Igbos are not. Is absolute. 2 months ago, I was having a chat with a particular Nigerian lady in the States. She went there on a scholarship. Before the scholarship was offered to her and to many others, the condition was that you either speak Igbo, Hausa, or Yoruba. In other words, you must come from any of the regions. This lady in question is from Warri. Now, while I was discussing with her, she told me that she went there as an Igbo person and that her passport bears Igbo, even though she doesn't speak Igbo. Her passport bears Igbo. So that goes to confirm indeed what you have said now, that many of the people there who bear Igbo identity are not Igbos. It is true. I believe you, sir.
Thank you for that explanation. The other thing, the Igbo group, I want to call the attention of everybody. Once we are going about the realization of Biafra, we should also remember that there's a group that we tend to forget. Immediately after the war, Nigerian soldiers ran into all nooks and corners of Biafra, and some Biafran women moved in with them and gave rise to a population of Biafrans that are many now. Like, for instance, Okorocha's father is not an Igbo man. The governor of Imo State is a Hausa man. For if he denies it, let's take his DNA. He's not an Igbo man. So there are some Biafrans who are not Igbos, whose father are not Igbos, who were born immediately after the war, because there were a host of Igbo women that lived with Hausa soldiers. And these products of this association are not named. So if you tell them, they will say, yes, I'm an Igbo. But when you test their commitment, you see they are not. You see, they will tell you, yeah, Nigeria is bad, but we can solve it. It's not creating another country that will solve it.
Yes, sir. There is a problem. There's a major problem we are having in our Biafra struggle today. Before I chip in, let me welcome some of our obvious guests like Shola Salako, who is resident in London, a Yoruba activist. Afama Gwaweriru is there, Anthony Wos is there, Arinze Stephen Uzuku is there, and very many others, Wisdom Obi, or Chidrada. Now, look at this. During the time of Kabila, Laurent Kabila, the one that removed Mobutu Sese Seko, there were problems in that particular Zaire. Now, during this particular time, the soldiers that overran the side of Mobutu Sese Seko killed a lot of men, just like the Hausas went to Asaba and massacred our people. Now, after killing these people, they took their women and had children for them. Now, what happened in Kinshasa? A particular boy born by the enemy soldier, was giving the mother trouble, trouble. At a point, the mother said, "How many times would you kill me? How many times would you kill me?" Now, this question shocked the boy, an innocent boy, and he toned down his voice and asked the mother, "Have I killed you before?" The mother replied, "Your father killed my husband." Look at that statement. Look at that paradox. Your father killed my husband. What message was that? Just in Asaba, the Hausa soldiers overran our people there in the name of giving them relief, massacred our people, took the women and had children. Now, one could say, your father killed my husband. These are the people that are causing confusion in Biafra land today. When we talk of Biafra, They don't seem to understand us. Just like you have mentioned the Okocha. There are many of them. Not only Okocha, even Obasanjo. Are we not aware that his father is an Igbo man? Does he love the Igbos? There are very many of them, sir. So when we come to this particular perspective, we have to understand the angle they are coming from. That is why we don't expect magic from all of them. So many of them here, their fathers killed our men, their mothers' husbands. That's what I wanted to allude, sir.
Yeah, thank you for that interjection, for bringing that understanding. So when we say Biafra, it depends on the level of commitment. It's not everybody that is Biafra. There are Biafrans in deed and in intent, and then there are superficial Biafra. The superficial Biafra are the product of Igbo woman and Hausa soldier. And there are so many of those people now. So when we are making decisions that concerns Biafrans, we have to be careful. We got to understand that not everybody has the same level of commitment. That not everybody will have the same level of commitment. So we are not going to wait for everybody before we move to achieve Biafra. Once we get a sizable number, then we can move. Right now, all we are waiting for is to assemble all the names and all the contact information.
Yes,
then
now,
sir,
some time ago, Professor Evans Anofro was our guest, and he stated unambiguously what you are saying now, which goes to confirm. There was something he said that in the near, not very soon, after setting up the American standard, there will be a movement towards Europe to capture it. I'm sorry to use that military language, capture. To capture Europe as well is in parentheses anyway. Now, if we are able to get our people in the States and get the ones in Europe, once we move down to Asia and get the people over there, I think the job is done. Is it not high time we commenced diplomatic moves outside the States, outside Biafra land?
Yes, it depends on what are we trying to achieve right now. What we are trying to achieve is first to establish some connection, some kind of attention to secure the attention of Attorney Bruce Fine. That's what we are trying to do. That's the road, I think, that will lead us to freedom. We going it our own, alone, it might be longer. We may achieve the same goal, but it might be longer. But the shortest cut, like we are told, a straight line is the shortest distance between 2 points. The shortest point to achieve Biafra is to associate ourselves with the skills of Attorney Bruce Fine and find out what he can do for us and how he can expose us to the world that would assist us to achieve Biafra. Okay, we cannot achieve Biafra ourselves alone. We cannot.
Yes, that is true, sir.
Given the circumstances of today.
Yes, sir.
But the circumstances of 20 years from today, we don't know. I don't know.
Okay, sir.
I don't know the future.
Now, sir,
but today,
in this
go ahead.
In this very interactive session, our people are out there to ask questions from you and get clarifications on matters that will bother them. Before then, let me once again welcome Igwe Sonzenit Chukuma Eyisi, Joseph Okocha Odlukwe, and others who are waving, and one for Achebe, who says he's in Nigeria because he's a Biafran. In other words, he said that he is a foreigner in Nigeria, in Lagos, where he is now. Now, sir, let me call on our crew members and other Biafrans here and there. They have been writing in. They have some questions to ask you. They need explanation on certain issues. Before then, I also have to introduce a member of our crew right now in Biafra land, Sonny Bobo Emmanuel Mwabisi. Sonny, please, Professor Peter Ejike from the States of America is our special guest. Say hello to him and then introduce yourself before we go to the questions.
Professor You're welcome, and how is everybody? You're welcome for today's program, and I want to say a very big thank you for honoring our call to be our guest today. Welcome, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Now, let me go to our guests, our screen members who are there. HS Udeze is there in Japan. Michael B is here in Germany. Uche Diji is in Accra. Sonny Bobo is in Lagos right now, Lagos, Nigeria. Uche Naukeke is in Benue State, and many others who are there. Please, gentlemen, the floor is open, and the professor is here to enlighten us on some of these issues that tend to confuse us, especially at the diplomatic circle. Feel free to ask him any question. He is here on our program to tell us the steps we are going to take and as we move on. Please, gentlemen. And please, if you're asking questions, you make it brief. Please, you make every question should be brief and straight to the point. Thank you very much, Echezina. Welcome. Yes.
Okay. Good evening. Please, what is the name of
Professor Peter Ejirika.
Professor Peter Ejirika? Thank you, sir. Welcome to this program, sir.
Thank you. Well,
yeah, first of all, I want to thank you for making it clear to the entire Biafra and the entire world that we cannot achieve Biafra alone. That is support of the international community. I thank you once again for that, because most of us think that Biafra is not about.
Raise your voice a bit, so that we can hear clearly. Raise your voice.
No, that is a lip on. I don't want to disturb my.
Okay. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
Yes. So, because some of our brothers and sisters in Biafra issue think that Biafra is a thing of jumping up and down. I will just get it without being connected. Talking about referendum, this and that. I want to thank you once again for being here with us. But my question is just simple question. Please, is there any more moves you people are making over there in America to secure the freedom of Biafra, as we are working also in our side? Because we are trying to gather information on how to move forward. And the what do you call it?
Bruce Fine. Yeah.
You mentioned, have we have any contact with him, or have we have informed him about anything we are doing about Biafra issue? This is my question, sir. Thank you once again. Later I will come in for some other issues. Thank you.
Yes, sir. You got the question, sir?
Yeah, I got his question.
Okay.
Thank you for that question, speaker. Yes, there are some group, Biafra as a whole, Biafra as a body, not met him as a Biafran body. But there are sects, divisions of Biafra, certain people in Biafra, certain organizations in Biafra, like one organization that calls itself Ekwenchi.
Yes. Under the
has met Prime.
Yes.
Ekwenchi has met Bruce Prime. And some other members of the religious organization have also met Bruce Prime. But now we want to meet Bruce Prime as a Biafran entity. We want to meet Bruce Prime as a Biafran entity and then ask him what he can do for us, and then also ask him the question, what do you expect from us? Then once we get that, then we can enter into a formal contract with him to achieve what he says he can do for us. But right now, we have different groups. Different groups have met him. Different entities, different Ekwenche, maybe Biafran government in exile, maybe another entity. They have met him individually, but nobody has met him as Biafran representatives, and that's what we want to do now.
In other words, what you are trying to give now is a Biafra mandate.
Yes.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now, next caller, please. Next question. Sonny Bobo, you are there. Uche DJ, Michael Kaha, you are there. Please take your questions. Hello, Sonny. Oh, sorry. Sorry. Okay.
It's
What was mine?
like
Uche, Digi, you have to put yourself in a position or setting that we can hear you very, very clearly.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, it's better.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm again my able professor, my able brother. Whom things of Biafra.
Oh, it's fluctuating once again. It's once again fluctuating. Uche, yeah, it's once again fluctuating. I don't know why. You have to determine a particular position, please.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Clearly?
There's much noise coming from there. I don't know if there's any generator that is steaming.
From here. Not from my. So can I go on?
Yeah, but I don't know. There is noise coming from a particular background. I don't know. Please, everybody should check their various backgrounds to end this noise.
I think it's more.
Yeah, it's better now. Yeah, exactly. It's better now.
Yes. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for correcting that. My able brother, I am very grateful to meet you.
There's a service problem
At
anywhere.
least when I heard your advices and your suggestions in this regard,
I think, Uche, I now have to cut this thing. The problem is
I become more.
Uche, hold on. The problem is continuing. I don't know if Ome Maseno Sonny Bobo can take over the question while we wait for Uche to adjust himself perfectly. Yeah, thank you, Joseph Okocha Odluku. Say you are watching from Argentina. Tony Onyechi is equally there. And Michael Oroke, who said is right now from Ebo State to monitoring events. So, yeah, Uche, is it better over there now?
Before the person should continue now.
Okay. Please, let's call up. Please, the next person should take over the question while we wait for Uche.
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Moderator, and good evening, the guest, our honorable guest, Professor Peter Ejika. Thank you for coming, and in times like this, anything or everything about the liberation of Biafra gladdens my heart. And I've been following your programs for some years now as your activity.
Please, gentlemen, tune down your volume for their set, please. Please, everybody should check their various backgrounds, please. Yeah, this is what we experience from time to time. Either there is a generator spinning at the background or people live close to the road. Yeah, Mike, are you still there with us?
I'm around.
Yeah, please, I don't know where the noise is coming from.
They can put their phone on mute, please.
Yes, I think I have always advised on this.
Okay, let me make it very clear. My question goes like this. Thank you, Professor, for coming and for the idea of mentioning design, economy, and also to you.
Mike, your voice is very low. Please, raise your voice a bit.
Yeah, mentioning the economy on the person of Hussein and his activities and promises towards the actualization of Biafra on his air. I'm very, very impressed in that, and just like I said in this platform, when the leader of the secretary of the Supreme Council of Elders visited them, I say that.
Oh, this noise is also again. Please, everybody should tune down either the volume of their sets or their mobile phones, please. Oh, there is a problem there. I don't know, please. I don't know which did you Sonny. Check your backgrounds. There's a signal coming from either of you. I mean, from both of you. Check.
But my able moderator, if you can give me the authority, I can monitor the background and
then do so, please. Do so, please. Do so. Exactly. Do that. You don't need to. You don't need my permission. Do that, please.
Please, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. In the next 5 minutes, I'm going to do that.
Professor actually it's better for we or maybe your people around here or your colleagues to keep all the good work people are doing. Let us see how we can get in touch with the attorney himself to bring him into this platform to talk, and let's see the idea and the minute Biafras around that will be able to contribute their own quota for the actualization of his claim to go into petition against the federal government or against the platform he needs to be. And then again, just
Oh, this noise is very much. This noise is much from there. Honestly, please, which did you try and check where this noise is coming from and get the one disconnected, please. We cannot control like this. Yeah, Mike, over to you once again.
So what I'm just trying to say is that let's get things in
Mike, your voice is very down. It's low. I don't know why.
Let us get things in action to see how to bring the actor himself, the American actor himself, to come to this program and to hear his views and his mind, his process, work and ways actualize that help the people of Biafra, and let us see who are able to come out the mouth on some and the patronize the food for making understand come out Biafran pilot in Portugal and also to get them connected with the current Secretary General of the UN. That is my own suggestion. It's not actually a question. I'm just thanking you. And
yes, Prof. Let me maybe you didn't hear much of what he said. He's saying, first of all, he commended your efforts, and that of others, and he is really pleading that anything your group could do to make sure that you bring the Brustein to our program to tell us more and more on what he can do for Biafrans, that we shall be prepared to oblige any condition given. That's what he's saying in summary, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for that introduction or rather explanation, because it solves a lot of problems. It helps us to know that Biafrans will be willing to pay money, if it means paying money to Brustein to introduce himself to Biafrans and then tell us what he can do for us and what he expects us to do as a result. So thank you for that knowledge that passed to us.
Thank you very much, sir. Now, Solubobo, you are there, and take more questions before we go back to the prof to move on with the analysis. Hello, Sonny. Yeah, raise your voice, please. Hello? Yeah, go on.
Hello, thank you. Thank you, our guests. I don't have much question. I don't have any question to ask, but what I want to say is that it's a kind of encouragement. Our elder brother, our professor, please, I want to encourage you people over there in the States, if you know every necessary effort you keep on making for the liberation of Biafra, continue. Never relent, because it's a race of every one of us to actualize our dream for the betterment of our future. Because I know that if our fathers who fought the war happens to got this, then we wouldn't have been suffering all these things we are passing through today. Like we here in Biafra land, we know what we are passing through. And we know that the only solution to our problem in Nigeria here is Biafra. and nothing but Biafra. We have found out that we have no future in Nigeria, that the only way we can have future is our nation, in our nation, Biafra. So I want to encourage you with all of our brothers over there in the state to keep on making every necessary effort in order to champion the cause of our struggle, to take it to more levels, a way that we can to make more effort to show that our liberation is very, very close at hand. Thank you, my brother.
Yes, sir. Now, sir, his was a commendation for all their efforts, and like Oliver Twist, he needs more. Now, sir, there is something that tends to hinder our forward movement in Biafra actualization, and that is this. There are some, or let me say, there is a particular group of agitators that is bent on doing things unilaterally. This particular group does not accept or tolerate any opposing views. Whatever they think, whatever they want to do, they consider it final. If you bring in any contrary opinion, this group begin to invoke thunder, insulting, abusing even the elders. Sir, in your own capacity as a freedom fighter, as a one-time Air Force officer, and considering your own exposure within the international circle, what advice do you have for this set of boys who don't have respect for others, or this particular group that does not accept any opposing view except what they think?
Thank you for that question. That's a very nice question. See, when you are involved in freedom fighting, when you are involved in civil rights movement, don't expect that everybody will behave like a church. That is a church. A civil rights movement is fighting for freedom. It's not a church, and it's not a school. So don't expect that everybody will behave well. For instance, let me give you an example with the American experience. We had two major groups that fought for the freedom of black people. There was Martin Luther King, a minister of the gospel of Jesus Christ. He was preaching peace. He said, hey, if white person strike you, don't strike him. Just leave God to take care of that for you. Let God take the revenge. But there was another person, another group, led by somebody who was very militant, Malcolm X. Malcolm X said, no, if a white person touches you, hit him. If he hits you once, hit him 3 times so that you won't do it again. Don't spare him. Before he hits you, try to hit him down so that he wouldn't hit you. For him, he said, we got to achieve freedom by any means necessary. But Martin Luther King said, no, we got to achieve freedom with peace and in orderliness. There were some women who were accusing Martin Luther King of being a saboteur, what we call saboteur in Biafra. They were accusing him of being saboteur. They said each time he goes to the press to talk on behalf of black people, that the master makes their condition very difficult. So some black people were blamed Martin Luther King for adding to their problem. So it's the same thing as in Biafra. Not everybody will see with you at the same time. There are some Biafrans that will say Nnamdi Kanu was a saboteur. Nnamdi Kanu messed up everything. There are Biafrans that say that today, that Nnamdi Kanu messed up everything, that Nnamdi Kanu was a hooligan. But the truth of the matter is that regardless of whether Nnamdi Kanu is your friend or your enemy, Nnamdi Kanu did some good. So the same thing goes. In freedom fighting, you are not in the church.
Please excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir. Please excuse me, sir. There are people that are listening to this and still left their radio sets, their sets on. Please off your set and just listen. Please.
But the truth of the matter is that regardless of whether now
Just hold on, sir.
is your friend or your
It's
enemy,
echoing.
that they cannot do something.
Please, everybody should tune down the volume of their sets. Please.
We are not in the church.
There are people that are listening to this and say that they are religious things having their set on. Please off your set and just listen. Please.
The truth of the matter is that regardless of whether
Just hold on, sir.
it's echoing.
Please, everyone should tune down the volume of their sets. Please. Okay, sir. You're welcome back.
Yeah, thank you for that order that you called in. So basically what I'm saying is all of us not going to behave in the same way. We're not going to behave in a like manner. So somebody's going to behave in a way that you might consider it to be an insult. But remember, we are freedom fighters. What you may call an orderly behavior may be a bad behavior to somebody. So if somebody insults you, make room for that. Make room for you to be insulted when you are freedom fighting. Make room. Don't expect everybody to talk to you in a nice manner or respect you. Don't expect any respect because you are fighting. In war front, you don't expect any person to make you a priest or a bishop. Everybody is a soldier. Every person is fighting for their life. So in Biafra, the way we used to say it is the jungle is mature. When the jungle matures, what you're looking for is to get at the enemy. So the jungle is mature. What are we looking for? We are looking to achieve Biafra. And brothers and sisters and Biafrans, we are not Nigerians. Nobody should make you believe we are not Nigerians. When you go to any group, when you go to any association to introduce yourself as a Biafran. I went to Atlanta, Georgia in a workshop to introduce myself. I introduced myself as a Biafran. They said, who is a Biafran? Then I began to educate the group. I am not a Nigerian. I was never a Nigerian. My great-grandfather, Chief Jajo of Opobo, fought the British, and the British took him to Caribbean, where he died. He didn't know how to handle cold, so he died. So I am never a Nigerian. And what happened was that because we couldn't read and write, we read the amalgamation document wrong. It was amalgamation of Lagos and northern Nigeria, and not northern Nigeria and southern Nigeria. If Nigeria has lawyers, they should have discovered this long ago. So basically what I'm saying, when in freedom fighting, everybody is not going to behave in a nice manner, but make provision for that. Accommodate that. Don't say, oh, they insulted me. Look at a small boy, a young person insulting me. No, make an accommodation for being insulted. But look at the price. What is the price to achieve Biafra? What is the price? The price is to achieve Biafra. Look at the price. Don't look at the insult. Look at the price. The price is to achieve Biafra. So whatever insult they give you in the route to achieve Biafra is good. Give me any insult you like, but I want to achieve Biafra. So that is how I would answer that question.
Okay,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you very much, sir. Now, when you were speaking a few minutes ago, you mentioned Malcolm X, you mentioned Martin Luther King. The two were as cross purposes when they were talking about freedom. While Malcolm X was thinking of, confrontation, Martin Luther was saying no, peaceful approach. And because he adopted the peaceful approach, they called him a saboteur. In the light of this, back home in Biafra land, there is a particular group, the bim-massob, that says no. It is a philosophy of non-violence, peaceful approach, no matter the time it takes us. Other groups are saying no, we want a violence, that without a violence we cannot achieve our freedom. As a pilot officer during the 1967-70 civil holocaust, with your experiences then, sir, which option do you think is better for our people? They want to hear and to put record straight.
Thank you for that. That's another good question. Should we adopt non-violence and go through the peaceful means of realizing Biafra? Yes, I would say that. Why would I say that? I'm saying that for your own safety.
Exactly.
There is time and purpose for all things.
Yes.
But don't go to northern Nigeria and start talking about Biafra in northern Nigeria. They're going to kill you. So you're going to have to defend yourself if you go to northern Nigeria.
Yes, it's true.
So it depends on the environment. It's a situation. Well, the question you asked is what we call a management, a situational question. So there is no one answer. It depends on the situation. If the situation calls for violence so that you can save yourself, by all means do that. If the situation calls for peace so that you can save your head, by all means do that. But remember the goal. My father used to tell me, a dead general and a living lance couple. That a living lance couple is better than a dead general. So don't go and involve yourself in violent protests and get yourself killed. Rather, be a lance couple and humble yourself and achieve your goal. Remember, what is our goal? Our goal is to achieve Biafra. Our goal is not go and fight with Nigeria. Our goal is not go and confront Nigeria. Nigerians want fight, if you don't know. Nigerians want you to provoke them. Any little provocation, they will use that as an excuse to eliminate us. Nigeria has been fighting us since 1905. Biafrans if you go to Namuda railway station and dig 6 feet, you will see the bones of Biafrans, Biafran laborers who were used to build that railway station. So Nigerians are looking for the least provocation to kill us. So I would not advise answering them with violence, because then you give them an excuse to shoot us. We don't have no guns, and we don't have no ammunition, and we are not trained. So our only option is a peaceful motive, peaceful association, peaceful movement. So that's all. In answer to that question, I suppose, I advocate, I propose, and I ask every one of you, you go by peaceful means. Don't use violence. Violence, you would not be there tomorrow. They will come and kill you overnight, and then nobody to agitate for Biafra again. So use peaceful means, please.
Honestly, what you just said, that is one of the most important segment of this our particular interactive session. You know, some of these young boys with hot blood, they always get involved in matters that will ginger crisis. But we have always told them that, look, it is only a living person that receives the inheritance. Once you are dead, it is all over. And you put it clearly, a living corporal is better than than a dead general. Now look at this again. Apart from killing us, we have always told these people, it's good this thing came out from their lips. Nigeria is looking for any slightest opportunity to level our people down. People should take a look at what is happening in Syria now. There is no building, there is no particular block resting on another. Every building, every block is leveled. Go to Yemen, go to Libya, go to Iraq, go to Afghanistan. The story is the same. Now, assuming there is civil crisis now, their first target will be Onitsha. They will level down the whole buildings at Onitsha. When they are through, they move down to Enugu, from there to Aba, to Maya, to Owerri. Every city in Biafra land, they will use their armored tanks and level down everything. We keep on telling our brothers who are shouting war, 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 when they don't have the necessary military wherewithal to withstand any challenges. They day in, day out. They think they can fight a war with broken bottles, with your broken wood, with a catapult, and water, even stone-tech knife they don't have. At times we begin to wonder what gives them this courage. Are they drunk? What we call Greek courage. A kind of courage induced. So it's really good, and we so much appreciate you are saying this, because sometimes when we say it, they said, "Oh, we are coming from the opposing camp," and because we talk from the opposing camp, they don't seem to understand the wisdom of what we are telling them. But good enough, we have told our people this, and they are listening in thousands. So this is why we always need people like you to come on program and talk to our people. That leads me to the next question. Because of these discordant tones prevalent in Biafra land and which tend to derail our march to freedom, are there any efforts being made or put in place by you people in the states to make sure that all these warring agitators come together to form a synthesis?
Thank you. That's another good question. Yes, but it has not been easy, and we anticipated it to be difficult. But we are trying to bring all of us together. But we are bringing all of us together not as an organization or as an association,
Yes,
but for the purposes of making a decision and having one set of blueprints. And once we achieve our goal, then the association will be, or unit will be broken up, and then everybody will go back to where they came from. So that is how we are trying to bring everybody under one umbrella. For instance, since they attacked Nnamdi Kanu's house and then called him a terrorist, IPOB has been disbanded as a result. Now we have Loni. Tony Nnadi has formed Loni. So that's another new organization. And then there are also other organizations that cropped up since then. But we are not saying people shouldn't form organizations. What are these organizations? These organizations are people of like minds. But there is one thread that binds all these organizations together. What is that thread? Realization of Biafra. So we are all together, even though it might seem that we are not united. Some people even say that Biafrans they will never achieve Biafra because they are not united. They don't love one another. Then when I hear such comments, I laugh at them. I tell them, say, once you say Igbo Kwenu, that is the problem is solved. That was my father. How my father's group fought the white man. They say Igbo Kwenu, that's all they say. And that's what we're going to use. And that's what the platform and magazine we fought with. We say Igbo Kwenu, that was the solution of any conflict. So what we are going through is what we have to go through. Remember, Biafrans, let me state one thing. The Israelites had to go through the desert before they could get to the promised land. Biafrans, the same thing. Biafrans, we are Jewish people. The same thing is happening to us. We have to go through the desert before we can get to Biafra. And now it's our desert. All these things you are talking about, all these deficiencies and all these problems, that is our own desert. But finally, we'll arrive at Biafra. So that's what the word of advice I'm going to give every Biafra. Whatever you say is wrong with Biafra, with the way we are going about Biafra, that's all right. That is our own desert. Then finally, we're going to arrive at Biafra, which is the restoration of Biafra. So thank you for that question.
Thank you very much, sir. I don't know, Ume Maslenus, are you on with us with your question right now? Ume Maslenus or Uche Digi? Yes.
The people that is making noise on the background is Michael. If Oka, if Sunday, your phone is making noise, please can you put your phone?
Uche, you are not saying the truth. My side is very quiet. Maybe you check from
You
the
do
network you
not
are
mute
operating.
your phone, please.
Okay, now please, Uche, remember since are you online with us? Uche, did you take your question? I think there's a bit of calm from what I'm observing here.
Yes, thank you, my able moderator. What I'm trying to thank our professor who is being our guest today is for him to identify the problems that Biafra is counting, to mention them and nail them at the right head. I am very grateful that sincere Biafrans are still remaining, because I thought that many of them was reason like the so-called Messiah they call, that have been trying to deceive our people. That the Biafra we are talking about is not the Biafra that will come in 2 days. It is only God who will help us make it possible. So for that reason, my able brother, I want to contribute in this regard is that whatever that for people in the United States or in Spain, as you are lecturing us, who can be able to help us, what you are trying to carve out, or what you want the plans to carve out for we to proceed, I would like you to understand that Massob being a Massob member, and I have observed Chief Tokorafu who desire and willing to sponsor anything that will make sure that Biafra is realized, that Biafra is actually. So I would advise you that whatever you may come up with, please, you can inform the Biafrans through Massob family. And once Chief Dr. Rapo was give order to Massob family, we are going to make sure that we finance you. Thank you.
Yes, sir. So you got here what he said, that he is a member of the Mazab family. Yes, that he is a member of the Mazab family. Okay,
that is the Biafran spirit. That was the spirit. That was the spirit the Igbos had for them to build the best secondary school in West Africa. So I love to hear it. I know who you are. God bless you. I love to hear that.
Exactly.
That you now encourage me. We're gonna go back to our little committee and see how we can bring Attorney Bruce Pine to address every Biafra.
Honestly,
on this platform.
Yes, what he said is really true, because Chief Owasike has equally told me the same thing, that any move people are making there has its own backing. What we want is, like you said, the Biafra. No matter the group we belong, the end product is Biafra. This is what we're saying. Now, Ume Maslinus, are you there?
Yes, Oracle.
Okay, please take your question. Professor is waiting.
No, I don't have question to ask Prof, because what he said is very clear. All I have to say is just a little contribution to what he has been saying concerning the attorney. It will be a great if we have him on this platform any day, so that he can speak to Biafra concerning what he can do for us, and again the other Spain, who can link us to the Portuguese. So those are very important. They are very important that we do that part and bring these people on board, so that we can know how to work. Concerning funding and the other things, that's just like you rightly said. Massob Bim family is a very nice platform through which we can form anything that has to do with the Biafran struggle. And that is why Chief Wazirike has always been here, making any move, ready to welcome anybody. Only that those who are fighting for their selfish interests, they will always try to avoid coming closer to him, because they are afraid of what will be the outcome of the whole thing. So they will just be by the side, trying to accuse him or make people believe that he's not that he wouldn't want to work with anybody. They want to do it alone. Why they are the ones that want to do it alone? If Dr. Rafa was thinking, so long as the person is talking about Biafra, with their mind, whatever it will take, whatever it will cost, if Dr. Rafa was thinking and the family are ready to fund it, with the help of every member, the little we are contributing, and any other person that wants to contribute towards the same project can also make such contribution to the bim-massob family, because whatever we contribute here, we are very sure that they are used. Forget about whatever any criminal-minded individual may be saying by the side, because they didn't have their work the little we have been able to gather together in order to make sure we actualize our Biafra of our dream. So that is just what I have to say. I don't think funding will be any issue. Funding will not be any issue so long as we all are coming out with a sincere mind in making all those taking those steps. So all you have to do is just when you have come out with our leadership does not come from thinking about it. We can show just everything and come up with the funding. So that is just what I have to say. Thank you.
Exactly, especially on this issue of Bruce Pine. Once it's there, their job is done. Honestly, sir. So you can respond to what he said.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Though I didn't quite get all the questions, but let me say one thing. Biafra, there's one thing that we are trying to, I don't know how to interpret it, but we don't have a king like Nigerians. Somebody I would call a king, like saying, hey, I got to do something, my leader said. No. If, for instance, in the army, the officers guide the other rank. But if the officer is drunk, the other rank will arrest the officer. That is Biafran culture. You can say Uwazirike is your leader. But once Uwazirike is drunk, you can no longer take orders from Uwazirike because he's drunk, because he's under the influence of a drug or chemical. So the same thing applies to all these leaders. I've overheard some people say Nnamdi Kanu is our leader. Nnamdi Kanu is not your God. Nnamdi Kanu is a leader when he is leading. But if he makes mistake, at that point you stop taking orders from me. The same thing with Uwazirike. Uwazirike is your leader. But if Uwazirike makes a mistake, you stop taking orders from him. What is the mistake? The mistake of not allowing not allow us to achieve Biafra. Any mistake that would not allow us to achieve Biafra, don't take orders from that leader. Even from me, I'm not your leader, but if I give you orders contrary to the realization of Biafra, don't take such orders from me. The same thing applies to Uwazirike, applies for Nnamdi Kanu, applies for Tony Nadi. Whatever they say that is contrary to achievement of Biafra, don't subscribe to that. Tell them, hey, leader, I've had enough from you. Yeah. So that is the type of leadership we grow in Biafra, not in Nigeria. We are not Nigerians.
Yes, sir.
So we are Biafran. So I love everybody at the end of this platform, at the end of this discussion, that learn to introduce themselves to the world as a Biafran. That is the little you can do. When you go anywhere, introduce yourself as a Biafran. Don't introduce yourself as a Nigerian. You can't be expecting Biafra and acting Nigeria. You say you want Biafra, but you are acting Nigeria. You are not a Nigerian. I'm not a Nigerian. And I don't introduce myself. I go to any organization or any gathering. I introduce myself as a Biafran because I started fighting for Biafra at the age of 12. And I'm not going to change. So I don't know what it is to be like in Nigeria. And so you are Biafrans. Please, from this moment, introduce yourself as a Biafran. No, you are not a Nigerian. Nigerians eat amala. We don't subscribe to that. We are proud people and we are very brainy people. If Nigeria had followed our advice, Nigeria would not be a fourth world country. Remember that within 3 years when we started the war, we were able to develop, things that went against gravity. Projectiles that went against gravity. If Nigeria had allowed us, Biafra would have been a world power. Of course, would have been an industrialized nation. And that is why Britain does not want Biafra. So, we have what it takes to make Biafra as great as China, as great as Pakistan, as great as India. Yes, but we cannot achieve that if we continue fighting ourselves. So, fight ourselves to some extent. Learn to love one another. And before you take orders, examine the orders. Find out, is the order helping us to achieve Biafra? Or is it something that will delay us from achieving Biafra?
Exactly. Now, sir.
So that is what defines your leadership. You don't have a leadership in somebody. You have a leadership in the order that will help you to achieve Biafra. That is whom your leader is. Not a human being. Not Kanu. Not Wazirike. Not Tony Nade. Not Irania. Your leader is any order, anything that will help us to achieve Biafra. Such idea or such entity or instruction is your leader.
Exactly. Now, sir, talking about this unity and the leadership and the possibility of bringing our people together to achieve a common purpose. Well, we are starting Biafra League, Biafra Football League on the 18th of next month, January 2018. The purpose for this, sir, is to make sure that we catch all our young boys and girls at the early stage, infuse in them the Biafra spirit. So that we start from there. Because football is something that unites warring parties. So after the last meeting at Owerri, let me say previous and the last meeting at Owerri, it was decided by the bim-massob family to encompass every other group. Everybody is welcome, one Biafra, because it is named the Biafra Football League, not IPOB League or Massob League or no, Biafra Football League. The essence is to bring our people together to begin to think as Biafrans. So, what do you think about this?
That's an effort in the right direction. That's good. For one thing, that gives our young men an opportunity to participate in sports. And it also gives us what we call esprit de corps. We work with one entity. We work as a body. That is good. That's very good. That's the type of thing we should emulate. That's the kind of thing we should support. That's the kind of thing we should advocate. But don't believe that, hey, one person is your leader. Nnamdi Kanu is your leader. Whatever he says, you will do. If he tells you to go and kill, you go and kill.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's not the type of leadership we want in Biafra. You can keep that leadership with Nigeria. Yeah, the leadership we want. If your leader tells you the wrong thing, don't take orders from that leader. That's what I'm saying. That person is no longer a leader. He's now a saboteur.
Exactly. So, we want a leader that thinks Biafra and acts Biafra, yes, and nothing more.
That is it. A leader should be the head. It's like, let me give you an example. Like that Reverend, what is that minister in Enugu? Is that Mbaka?
Mbaka, yes.
Will you call Mbaka a leader for Biafra? Mbaka is not a leader for Biafra. Will you call Ikpeazu a leader for Biafra? No, he's not a leader for Biafra. But he's a leader of some sort, but not a leader for Biafra. So in Biafra, we don't have leaders. We have ideas. What will guiding us in Biafra that has guided us so far is ideas. What Ojukwu brought for us was ideas. And then he left us. When he left us with ideas.
Okay, sir.
So that's what we should think about.
Yes, sir. One last question before we excuse you, sir. From the Biafra as our own nation, let us go to the state level. We have a focus on Imo State. Over the months, Imo State governor has been acting the ultra-vile. First, the demolition of a cuckoo market without recourse to due process, relocating the market with men and women before the market was demolished. We are not condemning the demolition, but the timing anyway. I'm failing to relocate people before the demolition. After that, he molded the statues of foreign heads of states that have never contributed anything to the development of any community in Biafra land. And we have to remember that last year he bought a Christmas tree for 520 million. Now, few days ago then, he appointed his biological sister Commissioner for Happiness and Purpose Fulfillment. So, can you give appraisal of what is happening in Imo State under Okorocha? That's our last question.
Thank you, moderator, for that nice question. It's a good question. But that question calls to mind our knowledge of the Nigerian Constitution. The Nigerian Constitution took our land, land ownership. The people don't own land. Do you know who owns all those land now? Federal government of Nigeria. So because the land is owned by federal government of Nigeria, they can do whatever they choose and whenever they choose to do it. So you can't challenge them. The 1999 Constitution gave the land to them. So whatever Okorocha or Okorocha or Nkwocha is doing with the land, he has the legal right to do that.
Yeah, we are talking about the human first. We are talking about these laws having human first.
We are talking about business.
Well,
he has the right to do that.
Sir, excuse me, sir. Remember, not so long ago in the States where you are right now, a police officer was asked to go and arrest a woman who committed theft in one particular supermarket. When this policeman went to arrest the lady, she first of all asked the lady what happened. And the lady narrated that the children were hungry, dying of starvation. The option was to steal egg to feed them. These police officers sent to arrest her went out to a supermarket, bought a lot of things, and brought to this woman and refused to arrest her. Similarly, in Nigeria, 2 months ago, a girl, I think the girl is around 21 to 2 years with a baby boy or girl, she stole. When she was apprehended and taken to police station, the DPO in charge released her at once and gave her some money to go and buy things for her child. Giving law human first. Is there no way Rocha Sokocha could have given human first to all these laws, sir?
Listen, what we are talking about the Constitution, and this Constitution is the greatest law of the land.
Are laws meant for men or men meant for laws, sir? Sir, are laws meant for man or man meant for laws?
Agreed. The ownership of the land belongs to the government, so they can do whatever they choose and whenever they choose to do it.
But this is government of the people, for the people, by the people.
See, what you are saying is right. If the people were able to choose their leader, but Okorocha was chosen for them.
Exactly. Now you come. This is where you got me defeated. So, people chose their leaders and we chose a leader that is defeating us now. That is why everybody is crying. And that is a lesson to every Biafran. Right now, as we move on, if you want to elect a leader like Prof said, elect a leader or choose a leader who will think about the people, not a leader who will think about himself and his immediate family. Once you make that mistake, we are in limbo. But if we choose a leader, a patriotic leader who thinks of the people, who applies the law based on human first, you are considering the human first or human value, in that case, we don't have anything to regret. But the problem we are having is that some of these people, the houses left in our Biafra land, and they sponsor them into positions, are the ones causing this problem. The moment we begin to identify them and give them Hausa names, it will be better for us. Thank you, Prof, for being with us.
Thank you. God bless everybody.
In fact, yes.
And I look for this opportunity next time for us to share thoughts together. And I'm going to work really hard to see how we can bring Bruce Fine to this platform.
That is
God bless you all.
That is what everybody is.
Happy Christmas.
And you, sir.
Happy Christmas.
Thank you, sir.
Happy Christmas.
Thank you, sir. Honestly, what people are writing here is that we would like to have him. They are looking forward to the time Bruce Fine will be here to address Biafrans. Once that is done, leave the job for us. And we make sure that the money will be mobilized. Thank you once again, Prof, for being with us. And anytime we call upon you, please don't hesitate to answer us. Thank you.
Amen. Thank
Happy
you.
Christmas and remain blessed.
Problem.
Thank you very much, fellow Biafrans, for your patience, for your understanding, for your patriotism, for your commitment, for your everything throughout the time of this particular evening broadcast, as we have always had in the previous days and weeks and months. We commend all their efforts. We are here, like everybody knows, not to preach hate. We don't condemn anybody because every human being has value. We are here to preach love. Once we preach love, we understand love, we imbibe love, we come together and everything about Biafra becomes so simple. But the more we remain disunited, the more we begin to invoke thunder against any opposing views or opinions, the more we continue to dance discordantly, the more we continue to retrogress. And we wouldn't want this. We want men in authority, men who have the eggheads to come to our rescue and tell us where to go. Now, Professor has taken much time to address us this evening, and from what we have heard, he indeed is a Biafran, at least having fought in the 1967-70 civil holocaust. We thank him 1,000 times. We thank all of you who have been here with us now. We thank Ume Maslinos from Lagos, Obi Michael in Germany, Echezina Udeze, Japan, Uche Diji, Accra, Sonny Baba Biafra Land, and very many others. We thank Ejim Konya Godwin for being with us, Chikezie, Chikozie, Tina Chiko is there, Simon Oroke, Tina, of course, and very many others. Please, we thank all of you. And to this particular gentleman who couldn't identify himself very well, but he goes with the name Happy Ndubeze, who said, thunder blaster all of you there. We thank him so much for invoking thunder on his fellow Biafrans, because we are here to discuss issues that concern him, that concern us, issues that concern his parents as well, issues that concern his own very siblings. He is here invoking thunder against people that are here discussing the welfare of Biafra. We have not abused anybody here. We have not insulted anybody. We have not dropped anybody's name. But this gentleman with an anonymous name was here to say the only person that said thunder blaster, blast all of you there. We are not going to say something, but if the thunder gets to its own target or destination, if the thunder cannot find a guilty person, if the thunder cannot get the person deserving of it, this particular thunder will go back to the sender. That is what we can say. We thank him for saying that. Thank you, all of you, for being with us. We really appreciate. We are gathering here once again on Tuesday at 8 p.m. Biafra time. We excuse the Senator S.U. Anyanwu because of much activities yesterday at the PDP convention. He was unable to make it, but he promised to reach out to Voice of Biafra International crew to book a new date. We are moving ahead of time, and we are here always to satisfy you. We thank you so much for being with us. We thank you 8,000 times. And today, being Sunday, we have to conclude this particular broadcast by playing some Christian music.